What's going on, everybody? This is Nick Lawson from Squad Sports. We're really excited to be supporting the Free Agent Friday series. A lot of great talent out there. Without further ado, this is the next free agent you should be signing with your sports team.
All right, we're back for another Free Agent Friday, and today I've got CJ LaRoche with me. How's it going, CJ?
Very well, Andrew. How are you today?
Doing good, doing good. Thanks for joining me.
Of course. Thanks for
Uh,
having me.
let's jump into it. Let's go over where you went to school and any degrees that you received.
Certainly. So I went to Wagner College on Staten Island, New York. I was a musical theater performance major, and I began my career out as an actor, and then I went into casting and stage management. I am currently enrolled at the University of Florida in their online sports management program.
Okay, great. When are you set to graduate there?
I graduate in spring of 2021.
Okay. So just, I'll start it off this way. What made you decide to want to get into the sports side of things?
Sure. So I've always been a rabid sports fan. I actually have a little bit of a reputation in the New York theater scene as being the sports guy. And a favorite party trick for my friends is to name a number between 1 and 54, and then I just spout out every single bit of information there is about that Super Bowl. And so about a few years ago, I was fortunate to work on a musical called Hamilton. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of all the rage right now. And I looked around at, who I was working with and the show that I was working on. And I realized that I had kind of reached a big goal of mine to work on a really big and popular show. And it was at that moment that I said, I think I'm ready to pivot. I think I'm ready to, follow my passion and try to work in sports. So that was a few years ago, and I'm taking steps slowly since then.
No, that's great. Kind of walk me through a little bit of your experience, from when you left Wagner College.
Sure. So I was an actor. I was a professional actor, and I was fortunate enough to get my union card as an actor. And I did some regional theater and some summer stock theater. And then I worked on play in the Fringe Festival that I helped to write and co-produce in 2005. And it was in doing that show that I said, something inside of me just said, I don't really want to act anymore. But I was, in my mid-20s and not trained or qualified to do anything else. So I took an internship with a casting director who was amazing. And he sort of taught me how to run a business and run an office and, do recruiting, which is called recruiting in the regular business world. We call it casting in the theater industry. And I was there for about a year and a half. I worked up from an intern all the way to being an associate with him. And we were working on a show for theater in Connecticut. And it took a really long time for us to sort of get the cast together. It was a lot of sessions. And that's when I was like, maybe I really miss doing shows. And I mean, not literally, but literally 5 minutes later, a director friend called me and said, hey, CJ, I need a stage manager for this summer. I said, oh my God, I know 50 stage managers. He said, I think you should just do it. I said, well, John, I've never done it. But he was confident enough in me to sort of bring me up there, hire me on as a production stage manager. And I came to find out later that he really didn't need a stage manager so much as he wanted a buddy to drink with and at the bar at the end of the night and talk sports. And as you know, I fit that role. So that's how my stage management career began at a summer stock theater in Vermont. And then I just slowly started, working my way up, and I worked on off-Broadway shows and then a few Broadway shows as a stage manager. And then I got into corporate event work, which was really, really cool and kind of, helped me to get that event mindset into my brain as I started thinking about working on sports. Then I worked on Hamilton. And then I said, I think I really got to just take the turn and, get into school and figure out how I can work in sports. Because up until that point, I had gone on to Teamwork Online and I set up a profile and I set out a bunch of resumes and cover letters and got 0 responses. So I said, I better get an education. I better figure out, how I can make myself a little bit more of an attractive candidate. And that's how I ended up at the University of Florida. I'm in their online program now, majoring in sports business management.
And it can be a very frustrating thing, job searching, especially in sports. But what area of sports are you most interested in as far as career-wise?
I think that there's 3 definite areas that I'm interested in, and fortunately I'm still in school, so I can say that I haven't really narrowed it down yet. You know, my dream job is the next job, but really it would be to work, you know, in the front office on the team side, whether it be, you know, in operations or team travel, you know, in dealing with logistics. The other area that interests me, and it wouldn't be the easiest pivot necessarily, but certainly a smoother transition, would be to work in facility or stadium operations. And then obviously game presentation is something that, you know, I have a background in, working in the entertainment industry as a stage manager already. And then revenue generation, working in sales. It's kind of, you know, a little bit far away from me as far as, oh, I really want to do that, but it's definitely something that interests me and a way that I feel that I could contribute positively to an organization.
Yeah. And I think based on, you know, kind of what you said, I mean, game day, you know, presentation and operations seems very similar to probably some of the things that you've already had to deal with. So I think, you know, as you're getting into it, you'll kind of be able to relate to some of those things. What would you say is your biggest skill set or like asset that you'll bring to a new position?
I'm incredibly organized. I think that working as a stage manager on these big shows, there's so many moving pieces and, you know, so many moving parts and so many people that you have to coordinate, that if you don't keep everything real tight and real concise, the show's not going to open on time or someone's going to get hurt. So having that organizational mindset I really believe is my biggest strength that I bring to the table. The other strength that I could just add one is I'm really easygoing and I like to have a great time.
What do you think you need to work on the most?
I think that my biggest weakness actually comes out of that organizational mind. I can get bogged down in the details. There are times where, you know, especially in my past career, where I get laser focused on one thing and try to make that thing as perfect and as wonderful as it possibly can be. And, oh, there's 5 other things I need to do today. Oh, I better get on those. So just trying to find a way to say, okay, that right there is done enough. And now let's move on to B, C, and D, and we can make A, you know, pretty on the back end.
For your position in sports, would you be open to relocation, or are you looking for something in the New York City area?
I'm definitely open to relocating. I've been here in New York City a long time, and, you know, a lot of people say that they have a love-hate relationship, and it rings true with me. It's a tough place to live, and, you know, it's a real tough environment. So if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. So I made it here, and if I have to go somewhere else to fulfill this dream of working in sports, so be it.
How would you define success?
I think success is waking up every single day and feeling good about the position that you're in, and good about the people that surround you, and feeling great about what you get to do that day.
How about a fun personal fact about you?
Well, I'm the youngest of 10 children, but I'm an only child.
Okay.
Huh?
Yeah. Wait, what?
So I come from a Brady Bunch family. So my
Okay.
father had 6 children. My mother had 3 children. They both separated from the folks that they had those children with, came together,
And only had
me. After I was the 3rd try, actually.
Wow.
And I'm the 7th child of the 7th child.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are good fun facts, I guess.
You know what I mean? I mean, you know,
Yeah.
other than I can tell you the
Nobody
story,
else has come up with that one, so I mean that's damn good.
this is who I am.
So what's your favorite sport then, since you're real into sports? Do you have like a specific?
It honestly, it goes back and forth between baseball and football, and
Okay.
it really depends on the season. You know, that's why the month of September is always, you know, September, October is always
Confusing
on Earth, because everything is happening. But it's definitely baseball and football are like 1 and 1A.
What are the teams? I mean, are you Yankees since you're in New York, and Giants?
This is another fun fact. My grandfather used to watch Jackie Robinson play in Montreal. He was from Quebec, Portneuf, Quebec, Canada. So he actually followed Jackie to Brooklyn And then my father was a Brooklyn Dodger fan. Then, of course, the Dodgers went west, and they didn't watch anything or listen to anything, as it were. And then so they became Met fans in '62. They had the Giants, but they were Montreal Canadian fans. And in 2014, when the Rangers and the Canadians played each other in the Stanley Cup Finals, that was a tough moment because I said, we're Mets fans and Giants fans. We have to be Rangers fans. And he said, you're going to be a Canadian fan. I was like, no, I'll stick with the Rangers. Keep it all consistent. So that series was tough. That series was tough in the LaRoche household. You know, the Rangers came out on top, thank God.
It's always good. It's always good when they come out. So I used to go up to New York a lot as a kid and go to sporting events up there. So I wasn't a huge New York fan other than the Knicks, but love going to Yankee Stadium and checking out everything up there. So, well, I'm kind of excited to see your transition over to sports. I definitely think your background, can transition, and especially, grabbing some extra education never hurts. But I mean, there's a lot of similarities between, entertainment and sports. So they're both a ton of work. But when you love what you do or you have a passion, I mean, it makes it all worthwhile. So.
Absolutely. And I learned that, coming up in the theater, it's funny, when I started at Florida, all the professors would say, it's long hours and it's not a lot of money. And I said, you've never worked in theater, have you? So
exactly. Yeah, no, it is. But yeah, I'm with you. Theater is the same. So, well, thanks for joining me, CJ. Let's keep in touch. I want to follow your transition as you progress.
Thank you, Andrew. It's been a pleasure.